cycles as we get set to take a look at the top qualifiers. Schultz and Myers, no surprise. Good qualifying spot for Steve. John Smith and Eiji Kawakami, his best qualifying shot of the year. In the first round, it would be David Schultz against Paul Ray, Nyberg and Ward. A couple of Kawasaki's there hoping to advance. One did, Nyberg. One didn't, Ray. Smith and Kawakami would march into round two.
On the other side of the ladder, Myers and Johnson on the same side, which is never where they want to be. Red lights were kind of the story back in round one as 4 of the matchups were decided right on the starting line. Myers, Phillips, Johnson, and Hector the Hammer advanced into this round number 2, and there is the Hammer, the Lucas Oil machine, getting ready for this second round matchup.
Here comes Steve Johnson.
You knew it was him from the helmet, didn't you?
Yep, it was a dead giveaway. The Slick 50 rider out of the Star Racing stable, still looking for that elusive first win of the season. The Hammer, Hector Arana. That's George Bryce, who owns the Star Racing stable. Arana is running one of those great coat motors. This is a pretty good drag race. It's a little better for Stevie. He's a 10th quicker on the track, 178 miles an hour, and that's his roommate, Larry Dixon, in the glasses of Top Fuel fame. The Castrol GTX NHRA now
766.
I thought I'd get used to some of the horsepower, but this racing's so cool.
You're having fun, right?
George says, he whispers into the helmet, he goes, "Make sure you have some fun." And I go, "I'm having fun." And he can't hear a word I'm saying, but I'm having a ball.
No doubt about that.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste. National Raceway, the Autolite Sportsman Challenge on Prime Network. That's John's interesting matchup of names. John Smith out of Ramsey, Minnesota, getting set to duke it out with Eiji Kawakami. That's the old Dave Schultz bike. Allen, his best qualifying shot in a while. Here's a guy that failed to qualify for the first 3 races of the year and now starting to become a factor.
That bike won the Winston Championship last year with Schultz aboard. Eiji's just getting more comfortable.
Well, he's not quite comfortable. Fouls out on the line. And how about that John Smith for the 5th race in a row? Smith will go at least as far as the semifinals. 778, 163 miles an hour as John Smith, local boy, trying to make good, goes into the semis. Here's the Snap-on Tools machine. That's the Bell Additives bike. Michael Phillips against the other half of the Star Racing team. This is John Myers. Alan?
John, you have been unstoppable before the semifinals this year. Could you squeeze by this time?
Well, I tell you what, semifinals, they've been coming. They haven't been coming real easy. And by the time we get to the semis, things are real tough because you usually got guys like John Myers left or Dave Schultz. And, I mean, that run, the bike didn't go into high gear, so there's definitely a lot left in this bike, and it felt a lot better in low gear. So hopefully with a good light and a good run, we can get by him.
The Bell Additives bike, Houston champion Michael Phillips rides with a gray coat, bullet in the rails. Harry Lartigue owns it. On the other side, the other half of the Star Racing team, John Myers, former Winston champ. By the way, I was only teasing with Steve Johnson before the break, so I hope that the fans and my producers don't send me letters about that comment.
They will. This is the matchup we talked about at the opening of the show. If Phillips wants to make a move in the points, he has to beat Myers.
And he's not going to do it here. Look at John Myers go to the whip on the top end. The Star Racing gang loves it as he runs away with a 765. That puppy runs big speed, Alan, 177 and change.
John Myers was definitely ready. 4:12 on the reaction timer. First out of the box and just never looked back.
In the near lane, Michael Phillips had his hands full, skated towards the center of the track. That might have cost him the race, the round, and the win.
John, 765, nice lap. Lane choice over your teammate. Tell me about the semi coming up.
I'll tell you what, that was a brand new lap for us. You know, we had bad luck in the first round. Spun the tire really bad in the first round. Shot towards the center line, kept it off the center line. Luckily, Pizza John red light, so I won that round. And like I said, brand new tune-up for this round, and got to hand it to my crew, George and Ken. They got it screwed on there right, but that was very, very soft, so we can lean on it next time.
He had to lean on it a bit in the first round. Just to keep it straight, look at that, right out of the starting gate. Fortunately, John Mafaro had fouled out. Alan?
Michael, I know you wanted that one bad, but what are you going to do when he throws a 65 at you out there?
Well, we didn't touch the bike from the first run, and I just figured we could at least run about a 64 on that pass. But we tried. We'll get him where it hurts. We'll get him at the wax shop.
That reference to the wax shop as we look at the Nyberg Kawasaki Heat the Tire, the wax shop Pro Bike Dash coming up in Indianapolis, the richest race for pro stock motorcycles. Here is David Schultz. That's Greg Cope in the Sunoco outfit with his back to the camera. Dave riding a brand new motorcycle. There's our helmet cam. It's a great shot as he's looking to move in to the semifinals right here. Now, pay no attention to that graphic on the right. This is not a 1990 bike.
Here in Brainerd, Minnesota, we finally had the debut of Dave Schultz's long-awaited new motorcycle, and this thing is like nothing we've ever seen. To start with, the chassis is different. Dave Schultz and Dave Earl of Track Dynamics got together, designed this on a computer. It's longer, it's narrower, it's sleeker going through the wind. The bodywork is all GSXR 750. Most of the bikes have a little of this, a little of that. This chassis is modular. Couple of bolts, this pops off, couple of Zeus fasteners, that pops off. You can see an extensive use of exotic materials, carbon fiber, tempered aluminum, even titanium in this machine. One other thing that you might notice, you see almost no wires, no air lines, nothing to get in the way. It's all tubed inside the chassis. Keeps it out of harm's way, doesn't get broken when they're working on the bike. This is a slick piece. He's got a qualified #1.
The ergonomics on that bike are unbelievable. It is smooth. Nyberg and the Kawasaki in the far lane. Schultz in the new bike, and there's that helmet cam. And it's a red light start for the Kawasaki. So this one's academic. It's a free ride for David Schultz, and all he does is put up low ET in the round, 762, 175 miles an hour. Oh, baby. Smith and Schultz in the semis. Myers and Johnson, the star bikes, mix it up on the other side of the ladder. There's Dave. Here's Alan.
It's amazing, David, how fast you can get a brand new bike straightened out. 762, low of the round.
Well, low of the round, we still feel like it'll go faster. You know, I know the track's hot and all that, but we think what we learned yesterday, we should be running a 59 again. So we're not going to be satisfied with that one.
Now, wait a minute. I've seen you run world record times, and you still think you can go faster.
Every time. We're never going to quit. That's what keeps me coming back out here, is I want to make the perfect pass someday.
If you slow down, the guys behind you are going to run right by.
And we want to make the perfect show. We'll try when we come back. Stock scooter, and it's the All-Star Racing Center. There is the very determined, quiet John Myers on the Snap-on Tools bike out of George Bryce's shop in Americus, Georgia. He will contend with a guy that is none of the above.
Well, Steve is definitely not quiet, I'll give you that. He is enthusiastic. The Slick 50 rider in his first year with the Star Racing team has been to a final round, does not have a great record against his teammate Myers, but Myers, with the experience and the confidence, I think has overcome some of Steve's enthusiasm.
The interesting thing to note here is that John Myers had a very bad first round. We saw that. Steve Johnson was within 100th of a second of Myers' performance in the last round. The key here could be the starting line, Alan, and we've seen a lot of red lights.
Now, come on, Bob. That's going to be an omen or something. Should be a great race. Both bikes prepared in the same shop, the same guys. I think the starting line may decide it, but who gets there first, not who red lights. See?
John Myers by a bike length at the top end of the racetrack. He runs 7:63, 174. He had a 4:19 reaction time. That's 300ths of a second quicker than his Star Racing teammate. Then he was 800ths quicker on the racetrack. That adds up to hammer time. And another final round appearance for the guy that would be the Winston champ in 1995, or at least he hopes to be. Alan?
Well, I'd be guessing right now John Myers is thinking to himself, come on, John Smith.
Yeah, that'd be real good for the points, you know. Right now we're just kind of battling for lane choice for the final round. I hope I ran good.
63.
63, that's good. That's good. We weren't real aggressive on it. We're sneaking up on it. It felt like it bogged a little bit, so we can get a little more aggressive in the final.
Going to have to, because I'm not sure 63 will win this thing, Alan.
I don't think so either. Dave, on that Sunoco bike, you heard him say he was running in the 50s, and that was back in qualifying. He does have low ET of the meet at a 56 on that new bike. They're still working out the details. Now, this is a tried performer. That's John Nord, the bike owner, pushing John Smith back from Anoka Ramsey Sports Shop. They built some of those snowmobiles like that one. Did they start that while you were on it?
Nope.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
The Torco MPZ machine, look at that. That's Greg Cope, the engine builder, from that onboard camera. Wisely gets out of the way. Meredith Schultz, Dave's wife, with a pat on the back. I love this new motorcycle.
I can get you right on it.
Gee, I'd love to, but I think I've got to have root canal work that day.
I didn't tell you what day.
Oh my, a red light start for David Schultz. Schultz in the new bike out of here in the semifinals despite the numbers. And look at that, Kurt Johnson, a fellow Minnesotite, another guy from Minnesota. John Smith pretty happy, 7.70. Certainly not awe-inspiring numbers. 173. Alan, can you see what happened?
399 was the number. 400 would have been a green light. That means 1,000th of a second. I think Dave did everything right. Didn't want to give anything away on the starting line. Just got too tight.
How about that? John Smith, his first final of the year against John Myers. I don't know who's happier, Smith or the Star guys.
John, I think if you could pick the place to finally get into a final round this year, this would be it. Home in front of all your friends.
Yeah, I'd have to say this would be the track that I'd want to make it to the final, and there's absolutely no doubt about that, you know.
Lost lane choice against Myers in the final. Is that a big deal out here?
It kind of is, you know. It's nice to have your choice of lanes, you know, but that run was a little bit sloppy. We kind of tried a little bit, you know, figured that it's either going to work good and we'll get around Dave, or we'll get lucky and get around Dave, or it's not going to work. So, you know, we know what not to do for the next round, and hopefully we can get down that lane without a problem.
I'm sure the crowd's going to be backing John.
Let's take a look at that semifinal match from the onboard camera on the helmet of David Schultz. Now watch the Christmas tree. You'll see those yellow lights. You see the red at the bottom, and Dave is gone.
I've heard you say before you really have to watch out for John Smith, and 399 is so close.
Well, I wanted a 420 something. You know, I know he's good on the lights. I thought I left when I've been leaving. You know, it's just maybe the adrenaline was up a little bit more. I don't know what happened. I was as shocked as anybody when I looked down. I didn't even see the red when I went by the tree, but I saw it down the track. I saw it on the finish line scoreboards and saw his wind light come on.
All things considered, you can't be too upset about the debut of the new bike. I mean, it really came around in a hurry.
I'm not upset with the debut of the new bike, you know, with the motor, with anything. I'm not upset with anything except for Dave Schultz right now.
Boy, the consummate professional, and you can see he is not happy with the way that his day came to an end here at Brainerd, Minnesota. Unbelievable. Great weekend now can continue for the fans, because we have so does John Myers. The final race here on the Autolite Sportsman. Myers would love to get the win. Could vault him into the points lead. Smith, on the other hand, would love to win it for the home crowd.
Well, the crowd is definitely behind John Smith. The crowd at his trailer between rounds was incredible. All of the well-wishers coming by to wish him luck and pat him on the back. I don't know how much that helps, but it certainly can't hurt.
No, it cannot. John Nord will back away from the bike. Dave Harlander, the other guy that's involved. Torco MPZ sponsoring the Anoka Ramsey shop just down the road a little bit. John Myers, two-time Winston champ, Snap-on Tools, Star Racing. This one ought to be fun. Ooh, look at John Smith. Looked like he moved first on the starting line. John Smith, no, Myers got him at the stripe. John Myers, and there's a crowd that really is going wild. George Bryce and Jackie Bryce at 7.63 for Myers. Big speed, 174 miles an hour. He needed it. John Smith got him out of the box.
On the far side of the racetrack, you can see John Smith moved first, and now he tucks down behind the windshield, fingers crossed, and watches Myers just cruise to victory.
How about that? It was a side-by-sider at about half track. Watch this at the quarter-mile mark. Here comes the big top-end speed Couple of miles an hour makes the difference. And John Myers goes into the points lead, first time in about 2 years that anybody other than David has led the points.
Points leader, John Myers. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. That's really good news. I tell you what, Star Racing team has really done it this time. They've got me running consistent enough, you know, to win here. And, you know, we ran a 62 that round. What will we run this time?
63.
Well, okay. I said it felt about the same.
Now, I know it's been over 2 years since Schultz has been out of the points lead. When's the last time somebody won 3 in a row besides David?
I guess it was me back when we won the last championship we won. But, you know, I got to say something about John Smith and the Anoka Ramsey team. They had a really good victory here. This is their home track. They beat Schultz in the semis. Anytime you beat Dave Schultz, that's an accomplishment.
If John hadn't beat Dave Schultz, John Myers wouldn't be the points leader.